Hello, everybody. And my name is Sean Maloney. I'm co-CEO and co-founder of London International Shipping Week. And I'd like to welcome you all to the latest in our series of LISW25 interviews. The maritime industry is at a pivotal moment, undergoing rapid transformation and facing multiple challenges. But to stay competitive, stakeholders must leverage technology as well as adopt an integrated approach to empower their people and improve their operations, compliance and profitability. In September 2024, Lloyd's Register, LR, announced their intention to acquire Ocean Technologies Group and combine it with digital business OneOcean. This is a bold, transformative combination that allows LR and its digital business, OTG and OneOcean, to address imminent demands of maritime professionals to tackle the twin challenges of digitalization and decarbonisation, as well as driving safe and sustainable operational excellence. The merger allows the company to offer an unmatched suite of digital solutions that can help drive operational excellence across people, vessels, and voyages. The combined business is now one of the leaders in maritime software, equipping over 30,000 vessels and 1 million seafarers with the tools to drive industry transformation. And today I'm joined by Nicholas Goubert, likes to be known as Nico. Nico, lovely to see you, who's co-CEO of Ocean Technologies Group and OneOcean. Nico, lovely to see you today.
Thank you, Sean. Happy to see you and happy belated Easter. I hope you enjoy a long break like all of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nico, you've been with OTG now for the sort of past 2 years. What prompted the combination of Ocean Technologies Group and LR OneOcean, and why now? What was the impetus behind it?
Yeah, so as you said, I think the maritime industry is really reaching a pivotal moment right now with increased pressure on regulation into the ship owner and ship manager, and then everything around decarbonization and sustainability. So it's what I like to think of a perfect storm for our industry to adapt and evolve, because shipping is not going anywhere, right? It's still it's one of the key foundation of our society. It's really, as we used to say, 80% or 90% of every good has been on a ship at some point in their lifetime. So shipping is not going anywhere, and neither do the regulatory pressure, the expectation from a sustainability perspective, and also a lot of complexity that come around a lot of changes happening in the industry. It's not only decarbonization, it's not only looking at new fuels, it's not only more regulation, it's also a complete change in the generation of seafarers. And that creates a lot of complexity, but also a lot of opportunity for a technology-based company who understand maritime deeply to be able to support customer going through that transformation. So very clearly, Lloyd's Register have seen that opportunity and want to strengthen their existing offering. So as we all know, Lloyd's Register mainly and firstly a classification company that has added also advisory to their portfolio. And then more recently, through the acquisition they've done of OneOcean and other acquisition before that in the last 5 to 7 years, I've grown a really solid digital portfolio. And the acquisition of OTG at the end of last year was really the last piece of bringing this foundation together, or maybe not the last overall, because there's a lot of great company outside and a lot of work to be done, but the latest in time, I would say, and we are right now in the middle of merging the two companies together. So it's really about broadening the portfolio overall of Lloyd's Register, and combining OTG and OneOcean brings together two very, very strong digital players. And if you look at the current portfolio that we have, over 15 different products, I would argue that most of them are best in class in their category. So bringing all that together makes it for a powerhouse to be able to support and help all our customers. As you mentioned, more than 30,000 vessels today are using some part of our portfolio, some element of our portfolio, and more than 1 million seafarers have been using our training solution and are still using it today. So we are really both a very, very large portfolio, very relevant portfolio, but also a very broad user base. And that's really create the perfect opportunity for us to leverage all that technology, all that knowledge of the maritime industry, and all that understanding of the industry to be able to support our customers through their transformation, digitalization, decarbonization. So that's really the trigger for that acquisition, is to build a digital powerhouse to support the customer into their mission critical operations.
Bringing on a couple of the points there that you mentioned, and it is a very exciting time in shipping. There's massive transformation. Shipping in all of its guises is embracing digitalization. It's moving at different speeds. It's a very large and fragmented industry. So it throws up a lot of opportunities for companies like yourselves. You also then talked about the new generation of seafarer moving forward, the tech savvy, young, talented individual who we want to come into the industry, but we're also competing against loads of other industries as well. Just, I suppose, an overarching question on this is, looking at the agility, Nico, of shipping itself. What sort of demands are you getting from the industry now, and what are you sort of gearing up to receive over the next 2 to 3 years as shipping changes and meets these opportunities it is facing itself?
I think through the conversation with hundreds of customers since the last 2 years and tens of them on a very regular weekly basis, I have this great opportunity to be in touch with the market and be in touch with the customer on a very frequent basis. I think what we see coming more and more as key pain points is around the fragmented ecosystem of solution that they have to deal with. That is really an impediment to having the best operational efficiency and also to be able to really understand what's happening and make data-driven decisions. So I think it's very clear that, as I say, we have a very strong portfolio of product, but these are what I would call point product. And there is a big piece that is missing to enable this data-driven decision and this more efficient way of running vessels and running also the seafarer and the people who are key assets, right, in making shipping work, is really towards bringing all these solutions on a singular platform where you can finally have data floating from one process to another, allowing you to build not only to leverage data, but to start creating intelligence about the market, intelligence also understanding better. Simple example, once you start connecting your learning solution with regulation solution and with your other operation software, you can see across the line and across the process and a long time, you can see what is the impact of a good training on a certain regulation on your operation. Like, for example, we have done some benchmarking that we were enabled to do by bringing different data sources together in this platform. We were able to demonstrate that if you have the right training for your crew, that has a direct impact on your retention in port, for example. And this is, I think, the way the industry more and more is going to measure efficiency of their operation, is through being able to calculate proper return on investment, leveraging data-driven decision. And this is only going to be possible when you start bringing all the different operation software on a single big data platform.
And I think that's a fair point, because I think there's a lot of connectivity between it all, between the enhancement and the benefits of digitalization and the impact it has on decarbonisation. A highly digitized operation, port operation, for instance, means the ship is less time in port. So therefore it's not polluting and what have you. And that's a very exciting area moving forward. But when you look at the sheer scale of the business now that OTG and OO have here, drilling down, what excites you about the opportunities about this combination of OneOcean and also being part of Lloyd's Register, LR?
Yeah, I think it's multiple layer answer, Sean.
Yeah.
So let me start by talking about the breadth and the depth of the portfolio today. And as I say, most of our solutions are best of breed in their area, be it on the learning side, being on the voyage management side, on voyage optimization as well for fuel consumption optimization. So we are really providing very, very strong solution. The other part of that is the user base, right? We really have a large user base. More than 30,000 ships, as I say, are using our solution. And today, more than 1 million seafarers are using our learning content and our learning software to go through education and through training. So if you combine these two things, it means that you have a very, very relevant and complete solution that is used by a lot of users. So that allows you a few things. That allows you to gather a lot of intelligence and data about the market trends and where the market is going and the market needs, which allow us to continuously build solutions that are relevant for the market who is going through a big transformation. So that really close touch with the market and knowing the usage of our solution is really an important advantage for us, right? And something we are deeply leveraging. We are very customer-centric, spending a lot of time with our customer to understand the current pain points and how we can fix that. So that's the first aspect, I would say. And then the second one, being part of LR, is a fantastic opportunity because LR is a 260-year-old company that operates in the maritime world. And it's always, having done that in several industries before, bringing technology to help an industry, What is very important is not technology for the sake of technology. What is important is to understand what are the industry specific, what are the industry needs, and really think of technology as an enabler for delivering the solution that the industry needs that is going through transformation. So LR brings us this very strong maritime expertise, this deep knowledge about the industry. And we bring, of course, some knowledge around maritime, but also a deep knowledge around technology. And finding that right balance is really important. So being part of LR brings us that. The other part that LR, being part of the LR family, brings us as a technology company is the ability to project ourselves on the longer term, right? Because LR is a long-term owner. It's pretty different from, let's say, venture capital or private equity, where we know the life cycle of ownership are pretty limited. LR, as I said, been there for 260 years. They really value digitalization. They really want to have a long-term play in that field. So it's really giving us this capacity to project ourselves in the long term, which is very important for providing the right solution at the right time to this industry. And I would say, finally, if you start thinking about the portfolio of LR solution, from classification to advisory to now digital solutions that are strengthening through this acquisition of Ocean Technology. If you think about it, all of that makes sense, right? Because what we are providing is operational software. This operational software creates we capture a lot of data, a lot of intelligence about about usage, and all that data brings an intelligence that can be leveraged by the advisory part of LR to basically feed them with actual operational information that comes on top of all the intelligence they are gathering around the industry, regulation, and all these aspects. And that's really bringing usage data together with advisory to make better advisory, and then that create a virtuous cycle, right? So that's really all the different aspects that are making this acquisition and being part of LR really relevant.
And I think, as you're saying there, Nico, it is an exciting time there when you've got that one single platform there. Because, I suppose for decades, all the maritime organizations and stakeholders have all relied on disconnected systems, disparate systems that to manage their own fleet operations. But you need to, as you said earlier, address those customers' pain points, simplify operations, make the whole thing more streamlined, but also reduce costs and drive an efficiency to the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why our product vision and our product strategy that started already within Ocean Technology and is now augmented by adding to our portfolio and our capability, especially around voyage management, which is the part where LR OneOcean is really strong, is we start really having all the different capabilities for all asset management, being the people, being the vessels, but also the voyage management itself. And we can bring all these capacity that cuts through all of the operation. Bringing that on a single platform will allow us to, as I say, bring this intelligence, allowing our user to make more data-driven decision, eliminate the complexity of tens of different systems that don't necessarily speak to one another, or I would say bridges between the different solutions are an afterthought, and that creates a lot of workaround. So the whole idea of bringing all the different solutions around human capital management, voyage management, regulation, all of these different aspects of voyage planning to an extent and operation of a vessel, bringing all that on a single platform will take away a lot of the complexity from our user, our customer, and allow them to focus on more advanced decision. Our goal overall is also to move from where we are today dealing with historical data to real-time data to ultimately in the future being able to bring to the shipping industry what exists already in other industry, predictive. So being able to be proactive in your action, proactive in what are the training you need to have, proactive in optimizing your journey instead of being reactive as most companies are today. So it's a whole transformation that will only be allowed through also a transformation of the foundational technology that is used to provide these services.
That's a very exciting aspect there, Nico. We're seeing all this AI advancement in our day-to-day lives and how it's sort of predicting what we're doing and second guessing. But if that's coming into shipping, you're seeing an evolution of these types of services going on. And I guess OTG and OO are going to be very much at the heart of that.
Absolutely, Sean. I think what is very important here, and I might not be a very popular saying that, but I think you see a lot of people waving the AI flag in our industry, like in other industry. I'm a big believer that you need to crawl, then walk, then run, right? You cannot run before that. So before you can really leverage AI at scale. And don't get me wrong, we are leveraging artificial intelligence technology already, and we've been doing it for years around, for example, content creation, translation, creation of also for coding, right? We are using Copilot since years now, but it's more from an efficiency gain, and it's used as a tool. But I'm not the one who's going to say we have a big long-term AI strategy. We have a data strategy, and AI is a part of that. So I think we need to. I'm not a big fan of saying AI or placating AI everywhere and making you relevant because you're using AI, right? I think AI has a play in our industry, but the first thing is bringing all the data together into a single big data lake and a big data platform with all the right services to capture that data in the right way, in all compliance, of course, to be able to bring that information and leverage all that data to help our customer make the right decision at the right time. I think that's also the important thing, is that AI is just a tool, and the way we are positioning ourselves today is we are here to help our customer make the right decision at the right time, to be able to be compliant, to apply with regulation, and also to provide the best experience for their employee, being at sea or at shore, right? So for us, it's very important to really be customer-centric and to leverage technology for the greater good of the planet, of the seafarer, and of shipping overall.
You mentioned human capital management there, and that's a very, very key point. And OTG is the human capital management partner for LISW25 this year, and we're very, very excited about working with you on that. And thank you very much for your support. HCM has been a key focus under OTG. Why is it important for the industry? I mean, just really go into a little bit more in depth on that, Nico, if you can. What's the importance for shipping? Really managing human capital in the right way.
I think it's something that is at the core of our industry, and it's getting really the talk of the town right now. And OTG was a precursor with that, with even introducing the term human capital management at the beginning of last year. I think for us, why is it critical? Because there is no shipping without people. Right? At the end of the day, the people are really the lifeblood of the maritime operations. And because of that, that's really where core focus of OTG was. And now HCM is a really important part of the new company, the merger between OneOcean and OTG, because there's a very simple way of thinking about shipping is you have the people, the vessel, and the voyage, right? And the people are absolutely essential. There's a lot of discussion in the industry about new fuel, about sustainability. And I think there's still not enough talking about the people who are actually operating the vessel, the people who are making shipping more sustainable, the people who are following regulation at the end of the day. And I think that's the important case. People are really, we see more and more conversation in the industry about the shortage of qualified seafarers. Also because there's a big change in the generation of seafarers. There's a big change. If I take training, for example, traditionally, training was done by ex-seafarers who were training the new cadet and the new seafarers, right? Now, with the change of fuels, with the change of operating model, with the change of around regulation and sustainability, this model is broken. We cannot apply this model anymore. So we are looking at how technology, once again, can enhance, can help, can support this change into bringing a new generation of seafarers, attracting them to the maritime industry. And part of attracting them is, of course, providing them with modern tools that they are used to in their normal life. They want the same thing when they are at work, like every one of us, but also supporting them in managing their career. And HCM, or human capital management, is really relevant both for the management to be able to best manage their key assets, which are their people, from hiring to retiring. That's the whole journey of a seafarer overall, or an employee, but also for the seafarer themselves to be able to really own their career, manage their career, and be able to have more transparency, more visibility, and at the end, be more attracted to an industry who, if you look under the hood, is a fantastic industry, is one of the very few industry still that is going through this transformation. And this transformation is only going to be possible with the right people at the helm of it. And that's why human capital management is absolutely critical for the success of the transformation of our industry.
Because that's a very valid point. And I think for many, many years, the industry's always talked about, this very important asset, but then other areas of the industry refer to the seafarers as a commodity, and they're not. They are highly important. And I think the industry is facing this issue of driving in the new workforce of the future. But people are the lifeblood of maritime operations, and I think really when they can then start to take control of their own careers and to start to see shipping as a very, very exciting and enticing industry to be in. So it is really more about, it's not managing crew and logistics, it's building high performance teams, isn't it, Nico?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you see is like companies starting to realize that it's just like seafarers are not just cogs in the system, right? They are the lifeblood, as you say, Sean. They're really, and we have demonstrated over and over again, and we'll keep demonstrating it, that if you provide the right support to your seafarer by giving them continuous development, continuous training, the right tool to do their work, to be capable of optimizing their journey, of optimizing voyage for their vessel, optimizing the fleet management, really leveraging technology to make their work not easier, but so they can focus their time on less low-end administrative tasks and really thinking about higher value contribution that they can make. I think that's part. Everybody wants to have an interesting job. Everybody wants to know what's next for them. Everybody wants that transparency. And it's exactly the same thing with seafarers. I think that's really bringing that modern way of thinking about human capital management is really beneficial both for the seafarer and for the ship owner and ship manager in a different way, right? But at the end of the day, it's a platform, it's a human capital management platform that will allow to engage the right seafarer, to keep them continuously well trained, continuously motivated to go for the next stage in their career. And ultimately, what that means for the ship owner and ship manager is a more engaged crew, a more knowledgeable crew, and ultimately a better business for everybody at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge, but it's also a very exciting challenge moving forward. And I think, having this people first approach, I think, is really what we need to do as an industry. And it's enlightening to hear you talk about these things. But I want to just touch also a little bit on digitalization, decarbonisation. Big challenges at the moment, Nico. A lot happening in those areas, compliance as well, in all these areas. How can you help your customers meet these challenges? Because you're dealing with, as you've touched on already, as a very fragmented shipping industry. So you've got early adopters and you've got sort of companies that are maybe sort of catching up. You've got different vessel types, vessel fleet groups and what have you, and operating in different parts of the world. But how can you help your customers meet these challenges? But also, what aspects do you have planned to sort of assist in this process?
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right. And there's a lot of complexity happening at the same time. I'm kind of an optimist at heart. So for me, I see that as a perfect storm where technology can really help. And you're absolutely right about the diversity of our industry, right? Different type of vessel, different type of operation, different type of crews, everything is a little different. Every time we talk to a customer, their process is slightly different. The way they work with their people is slightly different. Everybody has to obey to the same regulations. So there is some constant. Everybody's under pressure. Every single customer is under pressure from an operational efficiency point of view. Every single customer has to deal today with the complexity of the system they are using historically. So there are some common traits, but there are also a lot of, I would say, differences between the different customers. And the best way from a technology standpoint, the best way to answer to that is to bring configurability to your solution. So it's not a one size fits all. It's basically a singular platform, but has a lot of configurability built into it so that you can really provide the right services and adapt to the different processes of your different customers. And the other thing that is intertwined also is between, everybody talks about digitalization, decarbonization, also, as we discuss, scarcity of scarce resources. I think all of that is very intertwined. Like, for example, decarbonization will only be possible through adopting new technology, being on new fuel, on new engine, but also on new ways of training your people. And I think the same goes with digitalization. Today in our industry, a lot of things are still paper driven. Like if you take certification of seafarer, for example, it's still paper. You still have seafarer traveling the world with all their certification in a paper format in a briefcase, right? And that's not sustainable in the long term. There are different ways of doing that. So really digital will help bring really modernize all the different aspects of the industry. That's the first thing in silo that you can think about, is technology will help individually in all these different aspects. And then, as we discussed before, taking a platform approach, bringing all these solutions on a single platform will allow us to, for the first time, be able to see and to understand the data across the different processes and break these silos that exist today. And I think that's a game changer, because it will allow to make better decision, not in the silo of each processes, but across all the different processes. And once again, if you bring a platform that has the configurability at the heart of it and allows for a free flowing of the right data at the right time, we will enable our customer to make the right decision at the right time. We will provide modern user experience that will eliminate the complexity that is seen today, allowing everybody, both at shore and both ashore and on sea, to focus on the important part of their business, not on the administration part, not on making two systems talk to each other, but really focusing on the high value operation that they have to run. And I think that's what will really help, because regulation pressure is not going anywhere. If anything, I think it's just gonna increase, and we've seen that recently. So I think what we will see is more and more challenges put on the industry. And as I say, I'm an optimist, and I think the only solution forward is through digitization, is through really leveraging technology to make this transformation a success.
No, I think you're right. I mean, but I totally agree with being an optimist. The glass is always half full as far as I'm concerned. I look at this industry and wow, what an exciting era we're in now, the way it's moving forward. And I think different stakeholders within the industry are going to start getting pressure from their customer bases. So owners are going to get pressure from the charterers, ship managers are going to get pressure from the owners and the charterers, and the ship suppliers from the managers and the owners, etc. moving forward as the industry moves forward to sort of really sort of embrace all the benefits that digitalization can actually bring into it. Now, LR and OTG been great supporters of our LISW, London International Shipping Week, for many years, Nico. And again, thank you very much for your support for that. Looking ahead to the week, and we're only a few months away now, really. It's happening in September. What do you hope to achieve from the week? What is sort of a bit of a snapshot into some of your plans that you've got going on? We're going to have a lot of people coming into London. We're going to have a lot of high-level debate. We're going to have governments and we're going to have industry leaders all debating these big key issues, very much blue sky thinking. What are you most looking forward to? And how's it going to pan out for you guys?
I think obviously this event is becoming more and more important year after years. It's really bringing now hundreds and thousands of really industry leaders and innovators. So I'm really looking forward to very animated conversations and to very interesting conversation. I think it's also a good reminder that London is an historical maritime hub, right? Despite what we might think. And of course, there is special attachment for us as OTG and also LR now, Lloyd's Register now, to London, because this is where we both are headquartered, right? So there is really this attachment to the location, to London. And we're not the only one. The IMO is also based here. P&I clubs are also here. So there's a lot of presence in London. London is a very active hub for maritime. And so we are really, really looking forward to this very important event. And also, I think to answer your question, Sean, what I expect there is to be able to have very open and the right conversation with all the different stakeholders, because as we said, the challenge for the industry are not going anywhere. I think if anything, they're just going to increase. And I think what is very important for us, and that's the theme that we are bringing forward for the event, is around human capital management, as we discussed, because pressure is going to continue to be put on our industry. And at the end of the day, I personally think that's what's going to make or break it are the people, both the people who make the decision, the ship owner, the ship manager, but also, as you say, the charterer, the insurers. So the whole maritime economy, but also the people that are operating the vessels. And I think it's very important that we leverage that momentum, that we will have all the right stakeholders in town at the same time to discuss these very important topics around human capital management. So these are the conversations I'm really eager to have, and I'm looking forward to have with the right people. They're not all going to be easy conversations, but they are conversations we absolutely need to have.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think that's the exciting thing about LISW, in the sense that it's an events-driven week as opposed to an exhibition. So you get an opportunity to meet people you wouldn't ordinarily come across, and that debate can flow. And certainly with the main headline conference on the Wednesday, some of these big key issues that we've been talking about today will be very much high up on that agenda. Nico, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much indeed for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You've touched on a lot of very, very important issues there, and certainly areas that I want to carry on keeping in touch with you over the coming months and year or so, because it's going to be fast moving and fast changing. But again, thank you very much for your support with OTG, OneOcean, Lloyd's Register. LR actually were one of our first sponsors to come on way back in 2011, 2012. So, it meant a lot to us for that as well, and also with OTG. But thank you very much indeed for your time today, Nico. And we look forward to seeing you during LISW25.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sean, for the great conversation, and definitely looking forward to the event in London and to continue this very interesting conversation that is really driving everything we do at OTG, LR, and OneOcean. Thank you.